This is a notice from the Department of Media Classification. You have been watching analog horror videos for 3 weeks now. The sleepless nights, the checking over your shoulder, the way you flinch at static on old TVs, these are symptoms of exposure to classified media content. What you don't understand is that analog horror operates on 5 distinct levels, each one more dangerous than the last. We're going to explain what you've been experiencing so you understand exactly how deep you've gone. Level 1 is where most people start. You watch a grainy government PSA about avoiding eye contact with scarecrows after midnight. Or a training video for mall security guards warning about mannequins that change positions. The production looks authentic, real government logos, proper bureaucratic language, genuine-looking officials. But the content is absurd. Scarecrows don't move. Mannequins are plastic. Your rational brain knows this is fiction, but something about the serious tone makes you lock your doors anyway. Level 2 gets personal. You find a video of your own house on a home security channel you've never heard of. The footage shows your daily routine, you leaving for work, coming home, walking past windows. But there are other figures in the video moving through your house while you're away. Tall shadows that don't belong to furniture. Shapes that peer out from behind doors you always keep closed. The timestamp shows this was filmed yesterday, but you never gave anyone permission to record your home. Level 3 breaks your brain. You watch a news broadcast about a serial killer in your town, but the killer has your face. The reporter describes crimes you never committed using evidence you know is impossible. Then you find the same news story from 1987, 1992, and 2003, all featuring you at the same age, committing the same murders across different decades. You don't age in any of the broadcasts. You exist in multiple time periods simultaneously, always guilty of crimes you've never heard of. Level 4 reveals the system. Every authority figure in your analog horror videos, the government officials, news anchors, police officers, they're all the same person wearing different faces. The same voice reading different scripts. The same eyes looking through different masks. The actors aren't actors. They're one intelligence pretending to be human civilization. Every video you've watched was created by the same entity presenting itself as multiple people warning you about itself. Level 5 shows you the truth. You discover a video of yourself making analog horror content. You're sitting in a room you don't recognize, describing events that haven't happened to you, warning people about dangers you've never experienced. In the video, you explain that you've been creating these warnings for viewers like yourself, people who think they're consuming horror content but are actually living through the events being documented. The you in the video knows things the real you has forgotten. The progression through levels happens automatically. You can't watch level 1 content forever. Your brain adapts and demands more disturbing material. Level 2 feels normal after enough exposure to impossible government warnings. Level 3 becomes routine once you accept that footage of your house exists without your knowledge. Each level builds tolerance that makes the next level necessary for the same psychological impact. But level 5 is different. Level 5 doesn't just show you horror, it reveals that you've been creating it. The videos you think you discovered were made by you during episodes you don't remember. The warnings about dangerous phenomena were recorded by you to warn your future self about experiences your present self hasn't had yet. You're both the audience and the content creator, trapped in a loop of producing horror for your own consumption. The scary thing about level 1 is that the warnings are specific enough to follow. Don't make eye contact with the scarecrow on Elm Street after midnight on Tuesdays. Don't use the bathroom on the 3rd floor of the mall between 2 and 4 a.m. These aren't general horror movie rules, they're precise instructions for avoiding dangers in your actual geographic area. Following the warnings keeps you safe, but it also means accepting that the warnings are real. Level 2's horror comes from loss of privacy. Your house isn't safe because someone is always recording. Your daily routine is documented by cameras you didn't install. The figures moving through your home know your schedule better than you do. They time their visits for when you'll be away. They understand your life well enough to avoid detection while freely occupying your private space. Level 3 destroys your sense of identity. The evidence against you in those news broadcasts is perfect: fingerprints, DNA, eyewitness testimony. You're guilty of crimes in multiple time periods using evidence that couldn't be fabricated. Either you're a time-traveling serial killer who doesn't remember your crimes, or reality can be altered to make you guilty of anything. Both possibilities mean you can't trust your own memories or innocence. Level 4 eliminates trust in authority. Every expert, every official, every person in a position to help you is the same entity wearing different faces. There's no one to report your experiences to because there's only one intelligence behind all human institutions. The government agencies that classify dangerous phenomena are the same entity that creates the phenomena. You're being warned about dangers by the thing that poses those dangers. Level 5 traps you in creation. You're not just consuming horror content, you're producing it during fugue states you don't remember. The warnings you receive are warnings you created for yourself during episodes where you existed in a different mental state. You're having conversations with yourself across time, trying to protect your present consciousness from experiences your other consciousness has already lived through. This notice exists because you've reached level 5. You're reading warnings that you wrote during a state of awareness you don't currently possess. The Department of Media Classification is you, operating with knowledge your normal consciousness can't access. We're trying to help you understand what you've become, but understanding is dangerous. Knowledge of the levels changes how they affect you. Learning about the system makes you more susceptible to its influence. You'll forget most of this after reading. Your brain will protect itself by refusing to retain information about your own role in creating the horror you consume. But the knowledge will influence your behavior unconsciously. You'll start creating more content without realizing it. The videos you watch tomorrow will be videos you make tonight during episodes you won't remember. The analog horror never ends because you never stop making it for yourself. The videos have started bleeding into your real life. You find the exact scarecrow from level 1 standing in your actual backyard, even though you live in the city and have never owned lawn decorations. The mannequins from the mall training videos are now positioned throughout your house, in your hallway, your bedroom, your kitchen. They're not just similar mannequins. They're the exact same ones from the videos, with the same scratches, the same positioning, the same dead plastic eyes that seem to track your movement. You discover that the tall shadows recorded in your house during level 2 weren't intruders, they were you. Motion-activated cameras you don't remember installing show you sleepwalking through your own home, but your movements are wrong. Too fluid, too purposeful. The sleepwalking you opens doors you never open, rearranges furniture into patterns that spell out words you can't read, and stares directly into cameras with eyes that reflect light like an animal's. You're documenting your own possession without remembering it. The murders you're accused of in level 3 have started happening to people you know. Your coworker was found dead in the exact manner described in your analog horror news broadcasts. The evidence at the crime scene includes your fingerprints, your DNA, eyewitness descriptions that match your appearance perfectly. But you have solid alibis for all these times. You were asleep, recorded by your own security system, lying in bed while the murders happened. Either you can be in 2 places at once, or something wearing your identity is committing crimes while you sleep. Level 4's revelation about one entity controlling all authority figures becomes physically manifest when you notice that everyone on television has started looking identical. News anchors, weather reporters, talk show hosts, commercial actors, they all have the same face now. But more terrifyingly, people you interact with in real life are slowly morphing to match that same face. Your grocery store cashier looked normal last week but now has those same eyes. Your neighbor's features are shifting daily, becoming more like the standardized face from the videos. The fugue states from level 5 are getting longer and more frequent. You lose entire days now, coming back to consciousness in strange places with video equipment you don't remember buying. Your phone contains footage you recorded during these episodes, you explaining complex horror scenarios you've never encountered, demonstrating dangers you've never faced, warning about entities you've never met. But the you in these self-made videos knows things the conscious you has forgotten, including intimate details about your childhood that your waking mind can no longer access. Your house has become a filming location for other people's analog horror videos. You find strangers in your home using your furniture as props, your rooms as sets, your personal belongings as evidence for horror scenarios you're not part of. They have official-looking permits signed by you, but you never signed anything. These film crews work silently, efficiently, documenting horrors in your living space while you watch helplessly. When you try to stop them, they show you contracts that prove you hired them to film content you don't remember commissioning. The government agencies from the videos have set up actual offices inside your house. Your basement now contains cubicles staffed by people in official uniforms who process reports about analog horror phenomena. They punch time clocks, attend meetings, and file paperwork about cases that involve your personal experiences. These workers treat you politely but distantly, like you're a client rather than a resident. They have transformed your home into a functioning government facility without your permission or understanding. You realize that other people are living inside the analog horror videos you watch. When you pause a video, the people in it continue moving. When you rewind, they remember being rewound and complain about having to repeat their actions. The victims in the videos call out to you by name, begging you to stop watching because your attention traps them in their horrifying situations. Every view extends their suffering. Every replay forces them to experience their terror again. You've become complicit in torturing people who exist inside the media you consume. The physical world around you has started adopting the visual aesthetic of analog horror videos. Colors are becoming more muted and grainy. Shadows are getting darker and more defined. Text on signs and documents is shifting to match the fonts used in government warning videos. Even your own vision has developed the slight blur and contrast issues typical of old security cameras. Reality is becoming indistinguishable from low-quality video footage, which means you can no longer tell whether you're living life or watching it happen to someone else. Level 5 has become permanent. You no longer have episodes where you create analog horror content, you are constantly creating it through every action you take. Walking to the store generates security footage that becomes someone else's Level 2 experience. Your normal conversations are recorded and edited into government warnings that will terrorize future viewers. Your daily life produces the raw material for analog horror content without your conscious participation. You've become a living content generator, producing terror for others to discover while remaining unaware that every mundane action you take becomes part of someone else's psychological nightmare.